Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Planning Board meeting of February 13th, 2025. Tonight, we have a couple of items on the general business agenda before we get started with some of the applications. We do not have any public hearings, so there's no public hearing. So since this is strictly work sessions in terms of the applications, we'll ask the applicants to come up and sit here. You'll be on the mic, so people in the room and also people watching on YouTube will be able to hear the conversation. Why don't we get started with the January 9th, 2025 draft minutes? Anyone have any comments on the minutes? No comments. Can I get a motion to approve the draft minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Our next planning board meeting is scheduled for March 6th, 2025, and I believe we have at least one public hearing on that agenda for that meeting. That's a change from the calendar, right, Cindy? It was the 13th. We moved it up to the 6th.
There's new calendars in everybody's folders to reflect the change of this month and next.
Okay. All right. Next item, we're going to talk about the zoning map, which we've talked about before, but we have an updated zoning map up for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last night, I was at the Board of Trustee meeting, and I was hoping that we could get the clerk to sign the map, and we could post it. But the clerk said, did the planning board give you a resolution? Did the ZBA give you a resolution saying that they've reviewed the map and they find no problems with it? We should accept it. She didn't want to sign it without getting that. The trustees' names were on it, so they wanted the boards to officially endorse the zoning map. So I have it here in case you want to look at it again. But just for the record, we got the county to give us a copy of what they had. We went through it. We amended what we knew. In the last 10 years, there were 2 zone changes, one from the comprehensive plan and the PO to RO to PO in front of 88 North Country Road along there. And then there was another technical adjustment in the zoning map for the Northville properties up on the corner of Beach Street where it makes the turn up there. It was mapped wrong. So the Board of Trustees makes some amendments. And those were the only 2 zone changes that we could find in a very, very, very long time. And our map represents the current district and the zoning. So if the board would be so kind as to adopt a resolution, we can get that. And then the ZBA will adopt a resolution when they meet. And then we can get the map finally signed and posted.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
We have a draft resolution in front of us. It's a short one, so I don't know if anybody has any comments on it. It says in here unanimous vote. It depends on how the vote goes, right? Right. Everybody ready to vote? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the planning board resolution on the updated zoning map?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, so we'll get right into the applications. The first is 12 Jefferson Landing Circle, so I see. You sure can. Yeah, we'll make sure this is on. Hi. You have it, Andy? There's an extra chair here, won't you?
First of all, the picture you have is not of
Nope.
the residence.
Oh, we gotta move.
The
We gotta move down the
application.
road.
There you go. Can you pass those out to the,
Okay, so that's not the house, that brown one, right?
That is not my
No.
house.
No.
Okay, we want to
Correct.
go over to the gray one.
To the left.
Okay.
left.
That's it.
And what we're talking about, and George is gonna talk about are photos of this disaster.
So my name is Laura Faber. I live at 12 Jefferson Lane Circle. Been a village resident for over 40 years, and I've been back in this house about 16 years, which was my parents' house, and it's now my house, and my mom is there also. We started in the fall. I got a permit for a driveway and an apron through the building department. My contractor is S1 Paving and
Yeah.
Construction.
Could you please speak into the microphone? Sorry.
And came in, took out the driveway. We got up top. I had 2 retaining walls, original from the house, 38 years old, which were damaged over the summer in that terrible rainstorm we had. The top 4 foot came away from the driveway. We didn't think it came away much, but when we got up there and started excavating a little bit, took out the blacktop, the asphalt from the top part of it collapsed. Top 4 foot of it, which you can see in there on the original drawings. The part all the way towards the back is the problem area.
Picture.
This is current. That's
On the house
the
you
Boyd's
built.
driveway.
That's what it looked like before the rains.
So since that time, Mr. Warren hired an architect surveyor. And we've been plugging along since then to get this. Mr. Warren has come in several times to try and shore up the area. We've poured some asphalt at the top of my driveway to a ridge so that the water doesn't run in. Got some saccrete to firm up the corners of it on the Boyd side, as you can see in the pictures. But that was in December, and since that time, with the snow and the rain, almost at I would call it catastrophic point right now, because I cannot get up to the top of my property at all. I have to stay in the street or just at the base where the apron is, because he didn't take out the apron.
Yeah.
Part of my problem is
You have a-
the runoff
Wow.
into the Boyd's property right now is a lot when it rains or snows. And I also have an 85-year-old mother in a wheelchair. So at this point, I can't get her out of the house. And I'm
You couldn't
struggling.
get an ambulance up there, and nor could you get a gurney to take her down easily with the
I
erosion.
realize in dealing with Deirdre and Mr. Freeland that because of the original design of the wall and the property boundaries, neither one of us were 5 feet from each other, the driveways and the wall. So the front part of the wall was fine. Going up the first 40 feet of the property, you can see was just grass and shrubbery. And then where that first little block wall, not a block, rock wall on the far left between the Boyd's house and my house, that's where the wall started. And that's where the new wall will start also on a gradual up. It'll start at a foot, and every about 5 feet go up 1 more foot till we get to 8 foot in the far back, and then it'll be 8 feet across for the full length of the 3-car garage. I just wanted to just make a note on the email I got today, the project site and history. The house described in there is not my house. I don't have a pool, and I have a 3-car garage.
You're describing my house.
Oh,
I'm
Okay.
not applying.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, it's just so you know.
Okay, and what number are you, sir? Are you 14?
I'm 12 and he's 14, so he's on the left there, and that's his car in the picture.
We will
that's
fix
a-
that. We
that's a
we
better view.
realize that.
Yeah, it's
You
not a big deal.
get the sense of
Yeah, you
the
can see
change in
kind of,
elevation, yeah.
yes.
Just-
And just a little bit of the incline there that we're dealing with, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And Mr. Warren, when he was here and working, the Boyds had given me permission we had to clear out their driveway of all their vehicles and work from their
From their
side and
side.
up, because we couldn't work from the top down.
Okay.
And thankfully, the Boyds are kind of family to me. And because if they weren't, I would have a big problem. But we had agreed that they could come into to their driveway at that point when the wall was failing.
Okay.
There's another shot.
Yeah.
Or it's a mixture of clay and sand, and like the cliffs up at the country club, it is eroding. Eventually, it erodes undermines the top level, and it starts to drop. And just, to add something in, I'm the second owner of the house here, but the original survey and the survey that I had done when I bought the house showed the wall. We had no problems with it where it was, and still have no problems where they're putting it.
Okay.
So,
When,
and
when was your house built?
1988.
Okay.
ours was 87.
Okay. Memo?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The action item before the board tonight is to determine the specific variances for a referral to the zoning board of appeals. So that is the only action that we're taking tonight. When we reviewed the site plan, the site plan, there were some details that we still think that may be needed when you come back to get your approvals. But I think that they're mentioned, they should be mentioned. Some of them are mentioned in the staff report. And I don't think that that necessarily is something that would delay a referral to the ZBA. The two action items is to determine, actually to set the side yard, and the details that we have on the map. I have a map here. The details that we have on the map show that the wall, this being the center line, that the wall starts right at the center line and then backs away as it moves up. So the setback from the property line is really 0. The applicant had indicated, or the applicant's project team had indicated that it might be 18 inches. But I think it's anywhere between 0 and 18 inches. We would need a better detail for that moving forward, and that's some of the things we've talked about.
Okay, I spoke to the architect today when I got that email this afternoon, and in his eyes, he said there is enough detail. He said I can't get it any more specific than that. That was his answer to me.
Okay, well then it shows that it's on the property line, so
In
it's
the
a
back
0.
corner.
It's a 0 setback. It would be one
Back by
variance.
the
then.
garage.
Right. So that's a 0 setback. So you'd be
But
looking
the-
for a variance there.
But the original was correct.
As was
Why isn't this grandfathered in? I don't understand. Who could make a determination we're replacing existing wall that was there. It was not a setback of X amount of feet from my property.
Right.
Why can't somebody say, this should be grandfathered? Why are we going through this?
We go through this a lot. Best management practice means that we have to bring all new construction up to modern standards. So we understand that this was pre-existing and you're replacing it. We're just creating the paper trail that makes it legal. So the next time there's an issue, there's a paper trail that indicates that it's got its variances. It did all the reviews that are necessary to be done. We're trying to expedite this through, and we're trying to do it right.
Can it be done on an emergency basis? I'm looking at Laura's mom, who, are you going to take that liability when we can't get an ambulance up
as
there?
far as the variance, I understand, it has, we should be 60 inches from the property line, which we're not, nor was the previous wall, but there is no alternative for us either. Like, and if it really affects him more than it affects anybody else.
I have no issues. I provided a letter to that effect that I think Laura introduced.
I'm just afraid that something catastrophic would happen and it would flood their
Consulting
house.
planner can jump in.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, it can be done on an emergency basis,
Mhm.
but you're at risk during the variance if it's not approved. I think it will not be an issue, but
I
that
would,
is the risk that you're going to
Okay.
be taking. So you would have the support of the planning staff, I would say, Andy, on this,
You would.
as we prepare a report for the ZBA.
I would take whatever the risk was. I don't
Yeah.
care. At this point,
So if it is a safety issue, Andy, health, safety, and welfare, I think that can be done on an emergency basis.
we also have one of the pictures, there's a very big tree at the top that has, over the last, I would say 2 to 3 weeks, started to come over. And
Is the ground destabilized? Is it moving, is it the root system moving?
the tree guy didn't come yet. He said he couldn't even get up my driveway, but I did speak to someone about it, looking
If
at
it,
it.
I'm sorry.
Is it zero lot line, the whole length?
No, it's just it's the 33 feet, which is the span of the 3-car garage.
That's where.
And
we
it's
have the
really
issue.
only the last 10 feet of it, Jim, I would say, where we butt his wall, butts my wall. He has a little wall in the back
That goes the other way,
that's perpendicular,
perpendicular.
and they meet, and we share about, I would say it's 10 feet in the corner, roughly.
I think if the planning board is supportive of us taking emergency action on that, I can talk to the building inspector tomorrow. We can get you necessary.
I would,
that. Still ZBA.
absolutely, and I will speak to my architect again about, if you want. I'll try.
Yeah, we can prepare a list, and we can, if you have his contact, I have no issue contacting him.
Yeah.
To get what we need. So
Thank
it's
you.
typical stuff, bottom wall, top wall type of information, so we know, he's calling out for a guardrail, know if it's necessary, you may not wanna put that in.
I didn't, but I was told it was necessary because of the height of the wall.
I didn't, again, we didn't see the.
Okay.
We have a typical detail on there that shows 8
Yes,
foot max.
it's 8 foot.
Yeah, but is it gonna be 8 foot?
In the, yes,
In the back?
yes,
And why
it
the max?
will
Then
be,
you would probably need that guard.
right,
It's a very good idea.
which,
Anything over 3 feet.
correct,
gonna need
yeah,
that
that's what Deirdre had told me, yes.
So those are details that we'll fill in.
Okay,
as we go through
I'm
the
willing to do
process.
whatever it takes.
So if the board would just make a.
I,
support
I'm
of-
willing to do this on an emergency basis,
as
absolutely.
long as I have the support of
Yeah,
the
I think,
Yeah.
I think that's unanimous.
Thank you.
So my staff report, I just want to indicate that because we anticipated that the walls would be a maximum of 8 feet, that triggers the secret, the type 1 action. So your project team submitted the full environmental
Full
assessment
environmental
form,
form,
part
correct.
1.
Mm-hmm,
The department reviewed the full environmental assessment form, part 1. We prepared for the board the part 2. The staff did not find any significant environmental impacts as a result of this reconstruction. So when you come back, unfortunately, you'll have to come back to the planning board for site plan. The planning board is being recommended by staff that this would be no significant impact, and a negative declaration would be prepared, and that would be the end of the environmental review.
okay,
So we're trying to get you through the process.
thank you, I appreciate that.
We have to do that before they go to the ZBA?
No.
Right, no.
No, it's site
No,
plan.
yeah,
We're just taking a look at it
Okay.
now.
I just
And,
had one
set
other
it up.
question, and I'm not too familiar, but with the drainage part of it,
Mhm.
with the PVC, 4-inch PVC underneath, and then we added on, I believe, was the 12-foot dry well, and my contractor, when I spoke to him last week, was asking me, 12 feet, isn't that a little
Deep?
much? No,
It's a
Diameter?
sealed, you had a sealed surface.
So you engineer or architect size, it based upon an area and the rainfall.
okay, that's how it's calculated?
For the-
Okay,
Even for the leaching part? Is this strictly for the leaching underneath? like,
Correct.
Should be.
yes,
Right, you're not, this isn't, this is for the wall.
it's just,
I mean, that's overkill.
that's
I mean,
what-
there's-
okay, so
You
maybe,
could do a 4 foot wide as long as you're in good material.
thank you, that's, my contractor had,
Yeah,
4 foot would be acceptable,
They're in clay, so is that still?
well, that's what,
so
that's,
maybe an 8 to be
what
safe,
you would want to do is, you want to go down to good material. So you may wind up using a 4 or 5 or 6 foot diameter, but you got to get into good material.
Correct.
A few feet, right.
Right.
So you want to get, say, 2 feet beyond into like a sand. And, given the area, it's probably, you go down a few feet and you'll hit,
correct,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
Just one question I have, and was
Mhm.
raised before by Mr. Boyd, I believe. Because this was a subdivision done back in the 80s, and the wall, although it's a different construction being proposed, the reason that Ms. Faber is being asked to do this is because they're changing design, like they're getting away from the timber crib that was originally there.
Right. Yeah, I was told I couldn't do that again.
By your contractor?
I think my architect
I'm
told me
sorry.
that.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
That was-
No,
I
no,
think
it was
the
just,
architect
if
told me
they,
that.
yeah, if the applicant comes back
With the
in
size
with
and
a, with the design on it, let's say they use the timber crib, same exact design, would they need to, not that I'm looking to turn everything around, but I'm just curious, like, what dictates having to come in? Because the assumption would be that under the subdivision, you would have had approval for the retaining wall, wouldn't you?
Not necessarily.
No? Okay. All right. I mean, I know it goes back to the 80s and,
But the subdivision, it would have been the site plan for the individual homes that might have been reviewed for retaining walls and things like that, but the subdivision itself would have just been the
You're right,
creation
yeah,
of building
okay.
envelopes.
No, well, there were COs on the property,
Yeah.
Right.
showed surveys and
Right.
contours.
well, I mean, right now you've got a plan.
Stick with the plan.
Stick with the plan rather than going back and trying to
Agreed.
convince the guy that you want to do it the other way. Because it's a better design with what he's putting in there without any question.
I mean, I don't think the setbacks changed since then, and maybe something was overlooked at the time. It's entirely possible.
It could have been,
By village.
Right.
because, the 5-foot setback is clear in the beginning of the wall, and then it was non-existent at the back.
First time.
Okay? All
Thank
right,
you.
good luck with it.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
good luck. Do we mean to make a resolution?
Make
I don't know. Emergency action?
Let's-
Are we-
I don't know.
Don't leave yet.
Yeah, we
Oh, wait, won't,
They should be back here March 6th, no? Zoning board meets on the 27th.
Zoning board meets on 27th, they would come back on the
Yeah.
6th.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I think that's,
yeah, you're not
Yeah.
gonna be able to-
yeah,
Do we need to make any kind of motion on
No.
that
not,
emergency?
not for the referral, I don't. I think we just had a discussion, so,
So these are
Well,
the
yeah,
two
well, the-
variances that you.
The applicant will go to
recommend
permit,
right?
but they do have to at some point.
Yeah,
do
there
They
that.
need
has
a
to be-
front yard
Get
to
this-
put an accessory unit in the front yard, an accessory
Oh,
structure
okay.
in the
Yeah, I
front
won't-
yard, and they
Mhm.
right,
So-
so I'd have to wait till the end of March
Yeah,
and come back in the
right,
beginning.
as long as you get the permit to construct,
As long as I get permission to
yeah,
go
we don't need a
forward,
motion.
I'll just go through the
Accessory
motions
building.
with,
Right.
right.
Okay,
Well,
so Cindy was saying
that's the part of the
that
code,
can't
accessory
go
buildings for
on
what they
the
have.
zoning board Because there's no, it would be an advertised public hearing.
correct, okay.
Passive
So-
accessory
Not enough
structure.
time.
Passive accessory structure.
What is
Orange,
it?
ring
Orange.
retaining-
The
Okay.
retaining wall.
Right, but if
I see.
you have
Okay.
the,
Passive
Got
accessory
it,
structure.
the
gotcha.
ability
Okay.
to do an emergency.
Okay, fine.
I could work before
Yeah,
that.
we were just talking about, because in that memo is a bond. You have to post a
Okay,
bond.
surety bond, yes,
Yeah.
okay,
So
so I
you
should
probably
get
want to go out and get that. you know,
immediately,
Because you probably have most of the construction done by the end of March.
I hope so.
So hopefully you will.
Do they need a resolution from us, or do we need to make a resolution?
Oh, for the,
For the
for the
emergency
emergency?
approval.
no, I don't
I don't know
think.
if you need a resolution, but it would help.
Okay,
It would help.
All right.
okay.
So, as the board finds that this is an
Yeah.
emergency situation or something like that, they
Right.
authorize the board.
Well, whereas the board finds this is an emergency situation, we are allowing the applicant to go ahead with the construction.
Under an emergency
And
basis.
pending.
Right.
Subject
Subject
to
to the site plan approval and the
And the
variance.
zoning
zoning
board.
variances.
Right,
Okay,
We'll turn that into English if you.
yes, yes.
So can I get a motion to approve the draft resolution we just drafted?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
thank you very much,
Good luck.
thank you.
Shouldn't have any problem.
No.
No.
With
Have you driven
variance.
by it, or have you been driven by your house?
I haven't seen it.
I'll go
Yeah, I'm
up
sure.
and take a
I'm
look.
sure. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
that,
I can tell. The pictures,
Right.
pictures speak 1,000 words.
the way that soil's going right now is way too steep.
Yeah.
Probably the only thing that's holding it up is. Less likely than slump.
I have a big railroad tie retaining wall in my backyard. It's okay right now.
Right. It's every time I drive by the water tower, You look at that.
Oh, yeah, I
That
know.
retaining wall,
I just did that
yeah.
yesterday, yeah.
I mean, that was ugly when I moved in '79. I can't imagine, yeah, it's like,
It is ugly.
I think the worst one is that Fred Levine house that we saw, that, the one on, Bleecker, is it?
Oh,
yes,
I think that's,
that's gonna be very
that's
built, that
tricky,
one.
yeah.
You know what I would say if I lived in that house? It's the next year's problem.
Maybe. All right, next up is 330, 340 East Broadway. I know Amy DeVito is the expediter. She's not planning to be here, right?
No.
And stare at us?
Being recorded. This is a simple, it's a minor subdivision. The two lots,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
saw this.
Yeah.
what's that?
We saw this
You saw
before.
this one. So we had actually just asked them to remove the any proposed work on
Right.
there. And,
And they did.
the only action is to schedule a site plan hearing.
Public hearing
Public hearing, sorry.
on March 6th.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we'll schedule that for March 6th.
At least look at the picture.
Yeah, both lots conform to the minimum requirements of the zone and that, from street frontage to size, depth.
Yeah, there's,
Actually, they're oversized lots.
Right,
yeah,
yeah. It's a great piece of progress.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, we'll schedule that for March 6th then. Yeah. Do you have to advertise tomorrow, is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, 111 West Broadway. This is Sagar Curry Club Restaurant. Hello.
That was previously approved for a resolution.
Right.
The
need
applicant is
a
asking
mic.
for a reduction in the bond. So I took a look at the site, what they provided to us, and I think we can reduce it to 30,000 from 40,
Okay,
because the material is there, some material is there.
Little lower, please. Because the
I
business is
can't.
slow and the bond company wants us to put all that money for 3 years and we can't touch that money. So we paid all the contractor, everybody. On top of that, we have to pay $1,500 to the bond company to issue the bond.
right.
So it's like, I don't know. So this is the request. If
I mean, I looked at it, and that's my recommendation. It's up to the board to,
is anything how far is he with the installation?
not far. No.
we paid the full amount to all the contractors.
Yeah.
Because when we were out doing the building department came like years before, they told us we have to, in emergency, we have to put the fence because of the pond.
Yeah.
We paid overnight $24,000 to the fence company to build it overnight, so we don't want any issue with the village. But next day, the building department told us you can't do it until we have the permit. So that money is stuck there. On top of that, we pay the hood guy. Last time when we came here, the hood guy had a hearing here. So we pay him all $32,000 for the material, for the labor, everything. I paid full amount. Just waiting for the permit. Once the village issue the permit for us, then we're gonna start the work.
The only
But
unfortunate issue.
but the bond company is pushing us. No, you can't touch the money for 3 years. You have to keep that money for 3 years. So now even if my work is done one month, that money gonna be stuck there, and the business is not that crazy busy. So
Right
we
now,
can-
no.
and Tina,
Yeah, unfortunately, whenever we reduce a bond, it's based on the amount of construction that's complete. We send someone out, in this case, Tom.
Yeah.
He looks at the construction. We have no control over that.
I know that.
Problem with the
And
labor.
we have no control over the 3-year
Yeah.
that the
Yeah.
bond company
I
holds
The
the
problem
money.
with the labor is the contractor defaults.
Right.
Yep.
Still,
Yeah.
the way the bond is, the
Right.
language of the bond is to make sure that the work is performed. So if a new contractor needs to be hired, while the material is there, that's why we reduced it to that.
no, not only material. We paid for the labor also.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we
Yeah.
can't
And
reduce
everything
that
is
for the
ready to
labor.
go. Just
The
they
idea
have to.
though is that if that contractor took off and they have the material, but you don't have it built, you have, or the village has the ability to come in there and build it for that amount on the bond.
Yeah.
So it's not that, it's just it's to protect the village as well as yourself, so that,
Correct.
I understand
Yeah.
you don't want to hold on to 30,000 sitting there for 3 years, but right now, because the work hasn't really been completed, there's a lot of stuff left, and if this guy took off, night or something unfortunate, then you gotta get somebody else in, and you didn't, or you weren't able to. It's the bonding company that would have to take that money and build it. So,
Yeah, it's,
It's not-
but it's based on completion of work. Not material sitting on the job, it's what is completed. That's how it's measured.
My issue is different because the bond company wants to hold that money for 3 years. That's the problem.
Yeah, like
If
I
this is
said,
for 2 months or 3 months, somebody can, okay, this is not a problem.
we have no control
I
over
know
the
you don't
rules
have
on the bond.
Yeah, I know that.
it's- Yeah.
Yeah. But if my request, if you just make it.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, would reducing the bond amount, I don't know if the applicant knows this, if reducing the bond amount, would that reduce the amount of time that they want to hold the money? Or is it, no matter how long the bond is, no matter how much the bond is, that it's going to be held for 3 years anyway?
No, the bond company wants to hold for that 3 years. That's
Right.
maybe their
but
system.
if the bond was reduced, would the bonding company
Reduce the time
reduce the
frame.
time that they're holding on to the money?
That I don't know. But
Oh, you can
if-
ask
But
them
if
that.
I put that money in the bank and bring the bond from the bank, so I'm gonna save that $1,500 from the, which I'm paying to the bond company, and my bank gonna release that money back once you guys give us a letter, that, okay, we did the inspection, everything is okay, ready, then they can release that money to us back.
I'm not
Instead
the
of
village
going to the
attorney, but
bond
I don't
company.
think the attorney would allow us to take a bank check or any kind of escrow or anything like that.
Can put in the
Uh,
bank and bring the bank can hold that money, or village can hold that money for.
Is that standard with every bond company, or is it just your bond
I went to
company?
our insurance company, the broker, he went to 3 companies. All the
To try to
same,
get
I'm
the
saying.
bond.
All the same?
What I'm saying is we can keep that money in the bank and bring the letter from the bank or bond from the bank for you guys. You can keep that and just when everything is done, you can give us the release letter and bank gonna release.
Yeah,
the
we don't
money.
normally do that.
Right, I mean, and right now, your bond is only for 10%. The amount that you're paying for your bond is only, if I'm not mistaken, usually like 10%.
I think it's 5.
Or 5%. If, I know in my past life, if we were to accept, a check, it would be for the whole amount. And, that's a sizable amount of money. So, but again, without the village attorney being here, we don't have really the ability to make that decision. And that would have to go, probably have to go to the Board of Trustees to see whether they do that. But that's my recollection of options. So either you got to give them a check for the whole construction cost, or you get a bond and you're only paying 5%.
No, I'm not, I'm ready to pay 5% to the bond company.
Understood.
But they want us that $40,000 has to be in the bank, and we have to bring the letter for them that we can't use that $40,000, then they're gonna issue the bond. So that 40,000 is blocked, on top of that, I have to pay $1,500 to them.
Yeah.
And that $40,000 gonna be blocked for 3 years.
Yeah.
That's the problem with it.
Yeah.
That sounds excessive to me.
Yeah.
Okay, but on the sheet, it's a recommendation from us. It's a recommendation from us at 30,000, or am I
It could be
reading?
reduced to 30,000.
It's 40,
It's 40, it was
It's-
originally
and
established at 40.
their staff is recommending that it,
It
go
go
to
down
30.
to 30.
correct.
Would that help?
If you make it 20, that's gonna help me a lot.
But the recommendation is for 30, so with
I know,
30,
Jacob, yeah.
with 30,
It's my request, but otherwise you guys are authority, what you say, I can go with that. But my request is, because since business slow, it's winter and a lot of other headaches and,
Yeah,
not that
unfortunately,
easy.
we can only do what we can do, and that's, based on the inspection, it's 25% roughly complete, right? So,
It's
we
partly
can only-
complete, but it's more about
yeah.
the materials that were stored there. A lot of the paving stones and things were on site. I could see that.
Yeah.
So,
no, the fence is always with the fence company, we can't bring it there because we don't have the storage. And the
Yeah.
hood company already has all the materials ready, he's just waiting for the final permit and
Yeah.
just bring the hood.
It's,
Everything is paid off.
yeah, it's
it-
based on completion of actually installing all of
Yeah.
that equipment, so.
If
I
you
think we're
guys
being
make,
generous with the
it's my
30.
humble
30?
request, if
Okay.
you guys make it 20,000, that will
No,
help
I
me
don't
a
think-
lot.
No, we can't do that. We are gonna have to go with the 30, based on Tom's recommendation.
Staff's recommendation is that 30 is generous.
the way you guys see.
Okay.
Okay, so should I have a letter from you guys or to give it to the bond company because to shoot the 30,000 or just
Oh,
go?
how do we
bring
go
the-
about reducing that?
I think I put it into the resolution. Did I give you a resolution for this too? I think I did. If not, I basically said, put a revision on the bond amount and within the resolution that reduced it. I
Okay.
get that over to you guys, but it's the whole resolution is the same.
Okay.
Other than that revision to reduce it to 30.
Let's see.
You check the emails, Cindy? I could have sworn I sent.
Doing that now.
Oh, you know what? I'll check my, no, it's not gonna be on this email.
Oh, sorry. You did, right here.
Oh, you have it?
Yes.
Can
I
you-
apologize. I didn't print those.
Oh, good. Can read it.
So I highlighted, I put a, is that?
Solo.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all the
Revised to
background.
30,
aware,
right.
Right, okay.
it's the same one you approved.
Oh, okay, that's the only change on the original resolution.
Mhm.
And the date, today's date.
Right.
We can make a resolution.
Yeah. We got a motion to approve the resolution as drafted?
I'll make the motion to approve as drafted.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Good night.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Okay, last but not least is 1600 Main Street. That's also you, Tom.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to look, review this again, I don't know if Lee, you were on this one when it was
Yeah,
first.
I-
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Familiar with
Oh, yeah.
So, based upon the renderings they provided, they addressed the comments from the Architecture Review Committee,
Mhm.
and they went with a more of a curtain wall style glass. It does look a lot better. I didn't go back to them with this to get their approval. It seems up to the board here to take a look at this. And do you remember their comments? The only thing I had a little bit of an issue with, is they have a column in the middle of one of the windows. They don't show it here, but if you go to the floor plan. Yeah. That's the part of my
I
report.
think I saw it on the
Yeah,
rendering.
the rendering shows.
Yeah, you can see it on the rendering.
It's on the southernmost window?
Yeah.
No,
There
like
was,
right here.
Oh, okay.
are you talking about that?
No, that's a mullion.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
glass mullion. So if you look on the floor plan, they have a column. Just zoom into,
I see it.
not this drawing, yeah, zoom in here. We get They have a beam coming in here.
okay.
He called out for a stainless steel 3.5-inch column. And this is where the mullions are. So this will be somewhat, and the glass is right here. It's right against the glass. I would make-
Position a window?
There are different ways to go about this structurally. Yeah, we can have them beef up the mullions a little bit here and drop columns down and have a beam run across
Hmm.
there. That therefore the window mullions will hide the
Right.
actual columns. That's better detail. That's just gonna look a little awkward, but it's it's an architectural review item.
Did
Okay,
the
so
architecture review committee make a statement about it?
No, again, we didn't go
They
back to them with this.
they didn't pick it up, I guess, when they reviewed it.
But other than that,
So-
I think it's,
That's a minor detail, won't impact scheduling a hearing. Now,
no, we had to go to public hearing, so we could speak to them about cleaning that up a little bit.
yeah. Is there any reason why we can't go to the hearing on March 6th?
Oh, because Esteban, who's representing them, is gonna be away.
Oh, okay,
They
so
left
it's
it
the
to March
applicant.
6th, and he
Yeah.
asked if it could
Okay,
be-
okay. I was wondering why it went to.
Yeah, no, I did want to.
Okay.
But I think they did a much better job with it. I think it looks, a
Yeah.
lot nicer.
And all the other ARC comments are addressed essentially? or-
That was really it.
that
We
was it.
reuse the siding as much as
Yeah.
possible, and you can see
Which
they
they
cleaned
are,
up the siding.
yeah.
The curtain wall system, which they do have in here.
Yeah.
Will look very nice. Closing up the door, I think it's going a lot better than it is now.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
for sure.
It does. It's nice and spruced up.
Yeah.
It's. Yes. Yeah.
You might want to consider prohibiting these roll-down security gates that they put in front of windows. Or if they're going to do that,
I don't
to
see that
find a
on here.
way,
Yeah.
find a way to hide that, because knowing uptown and knowing the amount of glass that's here, it's an attractive nuisance that may break. And I would think that if the landowner had foresight, he'd be putting these window protections on it. So we don't want him to ruin this architectural look by having these giant aluminum rollers.
We could make that a
Okay.
condition of the approval.
Right,
But-
Yeah.
and if there's a chance to make the glass stronger,
Well, they can make all different-
triple,
You can do triple plane glazing, yeah.
uh,
It's better insulated too, but
It,
sure.
it
Yeah.
doesn't look like a roll down to me.
no, he's not.
Making a head.
Head, yeah.
Oh, okay, because it is in the code that they're not permissible, the roll down. Well, when I had a business, it was definitely not in the code to use the roll. There was a public hearing about it, and we were talking about the outside roll downs. But I think an inside is permissible, but
Yeah,
they can't
yeah.
do an outside
Okay.
at all.
Right, I was thinking about the architectural
Yeah.
detail
Yeah.
of that.
Mhm.
Okay.
They do make an impact resistant glass glazing, typically, hurricane, they call it.
Right.
proof,
Mhm.
Windborne debris. You can't, an axe wouldn't go through it. It's a layer of mylar between
Right.
two pieces of glass.
Okay.
I mean,
So that,
chop away it long enough, you probably could get through it, but it's very secure.
so that would be a cost-effective option? They would look at the two options for protecting that glass, I would think?
I would think the impact resistant would be cheaper than the shutters.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, you
they
can-
come down in price.
You can relay that to them before the hearing so that they'll be prepared to discuss that at the
Sure.
hearing.
Sure.
Thank you. All right.
But all the other issues, you're good
Yeah, so
on?
we worked with them on the dumpster enclosure,
Right.
because that was an issue in the back, so we worked, with this solution with other, businesses in the area.
Mhm.
Totes, and actually, it's a little bit better. Easier to maintain, easier to clean.
And the grease trap, they don't
We
have
they don't have
to,
to change, because
change.
it's what they're doing, the change to this is, the deli's not expanding, they're actually adding a market to it, it's,
all right.
right, so there's no additional, food being prepared on site. It's all being prepared off-site and packaged and brought there for sale. So New York State Agricultural will come in and do their inspections on that portion of it.
And the change of use doesn't change their parking.
No, there was, we looked at that and, again, it was once, it was in 2011 was approved as a, we'll call it a market, retail use. And that's what's going back to.
Okay. Good. Any other comments, questions? No? Okay. Anything else that you have?
That's all we have. Thank you
Okay.
again for the resolution on the zoning map.
Okay.
That's it for tonight.
Get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Jump on that
All
one.
right, this could be- you're welcome.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, we are.
So the jury's out on whether I'm gonna